Hi everybody, this is Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make a pumpkin. So what it looks like, kind of on the bottom and the top. So the things that you're going to need is you're going to need a stick. This came from my yard, just an old dead branch off a tree. If you don't have that, you can crochet your own, or cinnamon sticks work too. You can bundle up like 5 or 6 cinnamon sticks, and that looks pretty neat too. But I went with the stick there. And then you're going to need a hot glue gun to glue that on. And then you're also going to need some fiber fill or something to stuff it with. Some people use old yarn scraps or whatever, but anything like that. So you can make this bigger or smaller. It's easy to do that. But my pumpkin is... about 6 inches tall, not counting the stem. 7 if you count the stem. And it looks like it's about 6 inches wide. Something like that. You can see 5 inches wide. 5 inches wide. I feel like I'm measuring like I'm a tailor. 19 inches around. There we go. That's how big he is. So let's go ahead and get started on this. Okay, so for this project I'm using Red Heart Super Saver. Now this is just a number 4 medium weight yarn, 100% acrylic. Any type of 4 weight yarn will work. You're not going to need a lot of yarn, maybe 100 yards I would say. That's just a guesstimate. The color I'm using is called Carrot. And then for the little curlicue, not much yarn at all either. 10 yards probably. The color I'm using is called Dark Sage. And then I'm going to be using a size I, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. Okay, if you want to make it the size of mine, you want to start off with a chain of 31. Now if you want to make it smaller, that's fine. You can start off with a shorter chain. But I started with a chain of 31. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a single crochet in the second stitch from the hook. So this is a really easy pattern. And I'm going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch for the length of my chain. Just like that. So 1 single in every stitch until you get to the end of the row. Alright, when you get to the end of row 1, you should have a total of 30 stitches now. Now row 2 is the repeat row. It's the row we're going to repeat for the rest of the main portion of the pumpkin. So we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. And we're going to work 1 single crochet in the first stitch, but we're going to work in the front loop only. So you see how the stitch has each stitch has 2 loops. The one closest to you is the front loop. The one furthest away is the back loop. We're only going to be working, going into this very, very first stitch, the front loop only, and single crochet. And then we're going to go into the front loop only of every stitch and single crochet for the length of our chain, or to the end of the row. So we're only working in 1 loop, and that's the front loop, the one that's closest to us. And by doing that, if you flip it over, it creates little ridges, just to add a little bit of pumpkin look, I guess, to it. So I'm going to continue working 1 single crochet, front loop only, until I get to the end of row 2. Okay, when you make it to the end of row 2, you still should have 30 stitches. Then you just want to repeat that again. You want to chain 1 and turn. And in the very first stitch, front loop only, we single crochet. So we're on row 3. It's 1 single crochet in every stitch, front loop only. So we're just repeating what we did on the previous row. And that's what we're just going to keep repeating. Back and forth, back and forth. Rows of 1 single crochet in every stitch, but worked in the front loop only. Every time when you get to the end of the row, you'll have a total of 30 stitches. Mine's shorter because I'm just showing you on a sample. Yours will be larger. But when you get to the end of the row, 30 stitches, chain 1 and turn, and you can see the ridges that it's starting to make, and you repeat it again, starting with this very first stitch here, front loop only, and single crochet. So I'm going to continue doing rows of 1 single crochet in every stitch, only working in the front loop. Always have 30 stitches at the end of every row until I get a total of 33 rows finished. And this is what it's kind of looking like. It'll look the same on both sides. It'll have the ridges. So you want to continue to get a total of 33 rows. Alright, I have done a total of 33 rows now. And it measures approximately 12.5 inches across. It doesn't have to be exact, but you know, somewhere like that. I guess I can give you the length of this too. 8. So it's about 8 by 12.5. Like I said, nothing to be exact, but something like that if you're making it my size. Now we're going to slip stitch it together. So I'm going to fold my piece over like this. Now we're going to be when we slip stitch, we're going to be going through both loops, not just one. So I got my yarn here. Go into the first stitch over here on the other side, and then we slip stitch through like that, and then we go to the next stitch and the next stitch on the next side over here and slip stitch. Remember to go through both loops. We're not just going through one, we're going through both. And we're going to do this all the way down until we're all slip stitched up. Just like that. So I'm going to continue slip stitching up the side until I get up to the top here. Slip stitch all the way up till you make it up to here. Alright, once you make it all the way to the top here, don't tie off. Let's go ahead and flip it. That way your seam's on the inside. Well, the slip stitch seam will be on the inside. I'll kind of go down that seam a bit. There we go. Okay, so that's what it looks like right now. Now we're going to start back up where we left off. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to work a single crochet in every stitch. So we're going to chain 1. It's going to be kind of hard to tell where your single crochets need to go, but they kind of go at the end of the rows. So just kind of work out, evenly spacing out your single crochets, 1 in every stitch, 1 at the end of every row. Just like this. And you want to repeat that all the way around until you get back to your starting point. Alright, when you make it back around, you should have 33 stitches because we had 33 rows. Now, if you don't, that's okay, but just somewhere close to there is what you need to have. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and end by slip stitching into our first single crochet. Now we're going to close up the top by doing single crochet decreases around and around and around until we get the top closed up. So we're going to go ahead and chain 1. Now we're going to go back into the first stitch here, and draw up a loop. And then we're going to go into the next stitch and draw up a loop. We'll have 3 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and go through all 3 loops. So that's a single crochet decrease. That took 2 stitches and made it into 1. And that's what we're going to do all the way around. So we're going to go into the next stitch, draw up a loop. And then the next one, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through all 3. It's just important to remember to keep it as tight as you can. Go into the next one, draw up a loop, the next one, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through all 3. Next one, draw up a loop, next one, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through all 3. And I'm just going to keep repeating this round and around and around. I'm not going to end my rounds with slip stitches anymore. I'm just going to continue doing decreases until I can't do anymore. And just make sure that they're good and tight. See, I'm going into a stitch, drawing up a loop. Going into the next one, drawing up a loop. Yarn over, go through all 3. Going into the next stitch, draw up a loop. Go into the next, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through all 3. See, I didn't stop to, I'm not stopping to slip stitch. I'm almost back around to the beginning here. So here's like the beginning where we started. I'm not going to do anything except for continue doing this. I'm not slip stitching. I'm not stopping to count my stitches. I'm just going to go round and around doing decreases until my hole is, till I can't do them anymore. Till my hole is so small that I can't do them anymore. And then we'll finish sewing it up the rest of the way. So I'm going to continue doing my decreases. Make sure you keep them nice and tight. As tight as you can. Okay, I've made it and I just have a little bit of a hole left here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw up a nice long string that we can sew it together with. So now I'm just going to sew that top up. And while I'm sewing the top up, it's also hiding this tail. So just go back and forth and close up that top. It's okay if you think it's looking a little funny. Hopefully it'll look good in the end, huh? Sometimes I never really know. Now what we're going to do, once we get this all sewn up, is we're going to do the same thing on the other side that we just did over here. So that's what it kind of looks like so far. Okay? Just like that. Now we're going to start over here with some new yarn. And we're going to go around it with single crochet, the first row. And then we're going to decrease it until it closes up. So it'll be the same thing we just did here over here. But you don't want to close it up all the way because we have to stuff it with some fiber fill. So you can start anywhere that you want. Go ahead and chain 1 and then a single crochet back into that same stitch. And then go ahead and work 1 single crochet at the end of every row. Remember, you should have 33 stitches when you get back around. or somewhere close to that. It does not have to be exact, but do the best that you can. So I'm going to work my way around with one single crochet at the end of every row until I get back to my starting point. Alright, I've made it back to the beginning with one single crochet in every stitch. Go ahead and end by slip stitching into your first single crochet. Now this is where we start doing our decreases. So we're going to chain one, and we're going to go back into the same stitch, drop a loop, into the next stitch, drop a loop, yarn over, and go through all three. And remember, we're just going to keep doing this all the way around. But we do want to leave a hole that we can stuff some stuffing in it before we tie it off. Drop that one. Try that again. I'm just trying to remember to try to keep it as tight as you can. So around and around with single crochet decreases. Okay, I'm going to stop here for a minute. I don't have it all sewn up yet, but I'm going to start putting some stuffing in mine. So you got to leave a hole there at the top. You want to stuff it nice and tight. You can leave as big as a hole as you need to get your stuffing in it. Make sure you don't lose your spot though, so I better pull that out more there. I don't want to lose my stitches. So if you don't have this fiber fill, you can stuff it with whatever you want. Some people use yarn tail and stuff like that. But I'm going to keep stuffing mine until it's nice and tight and fat. And looks a little like a pumpkin, hopefully. Okay, once you get it stuffed up how you want it, just go ahead and continue repeating what we did by closing it up, you know, in the same way, using the single crochet decrease until you can't do it anymore, and then you just sew it up at the end. Gets a little harder here now that it's now that it's stuffed, but do the best that you can. Going around and around until you just have a little hole left. If you need to add more stuffing at the end, you can, whenever you have a little hole to get that top part stuffed. Okay, once you get it to where there's just a little hole left, I want you to pull out a long string, because we're going to sew through the middle of the pumpkin to kind of squish it down like a pumpkin looks, I guess. So leave about, I don't know, 3 feet. You know, it's good to have more than not enough. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is sew up that hole like we did on the other side. So go ahead and sew up this hole. Oops. Now we're going to take it and we're going to put our needle in the middle with our yarn still attached. Well, let me make the yarn come out the middle here. Okay. Okay. Through the middle. of the top all the way down. You're going to have to squish it really hard and make it come out the bottom middle. If you have a longer needle, it would probably work better. But okay, you just got to squeeze real hard until your needle pops out the other end. Kind of hard, but now you want to pull it nice and tight. And we're going to go back up again. Through the bottom, back up to the top. Nice and tight though. It'll get easier once the pumpkin gets smashed down a little bit more. Probably sick of seeing me struggle, aren't you? Pull it nice and tight. Shape it up a little bit. Let's do it again. This is just a tail left over. I need to cut that off. Don't mind that. Now you can keep doing this until you get your pumpkin the way that you want it to look. But once you do, then we just take it and we just hide. So in our tail, at the top, you know, just hide your tail. And then hide any other remaining tails and clip them off. So all I'm doing right now is hiding my tail. Okay, now what you want to do, once you get that done, everything's tied off, you shape it. Sometimes the fiber fill, you got to shape it to the shape you want. But you know what? I've never seen a perfect pumpkin when I go to Walmart and look at them. So I'm going to leave mine a little bit off shaped on purpose. But if you want to make yours more conformed, you can. But I'm more into, you know, the pumpkins at Walmart or wherever you get them, the grocery store or whatever, pumpkin patch, they're hardly ever perfect. So. But if you want, you just keep moving the foam around, like the fiber fill around until you get it the shape that you want. But then once you get that done, now we'll make the little curlicue if you want to. It's really easy. I'm going to do a chain of 25, but you can make yours longer or shorter if you want. But you just chain 25. In the second stitch on the hook, we're going to put 3 single crochets. And all we're going to do is put 3 single crochets in every single stitch for the length of the chain. And that's going to make it curl up. So 3 singles in every stitch until you get to the end of the row. Sorry if I was off camera there. You see how it starts to curl up? The more rows you do, the more it'll start to curl. So I'm going to continue working 3 single crochets in every stitch until I get to the end. Alright, once you make it to the end, you should have 72 stitches, but it doesn't matter. It's alright if you don't. Go ahead and just tie it off there. And then you want to hide these tails. I'm just going to put a little knot here so these don't come undone. And then you can kind of weave your tails up into the curlicue if you want with your yarn needle. just to get them hidden. So go ahead and do that. Hide both these tails. Okay, now I'm going to take my hot glue gun and then your piece of stick. Remember, you can crochet your own if you want. I just got this from my yard, off one of my trees, a dead branch. Or you can use cinnamon sticks. You know, you could put, 4 or 5 cinnamon sticks together, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to go ahead and glue my curlicue in here first, right into the hole, which is some hot glue. I find when I use yarn and hot glue, it usually doesn't come undone, so let's hope for the best. So I'm going to stick that in there. And then I'm going to glue my stick in there. All the way down in there. So let me put some glue on it and all around it. Put that in there. Hold it there for a minute. That's it. It's done. I think it turned out pretty cute. There it is. I like it. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Remember, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, so you don't miss out on any of my other videos. If you make this, I'd really like to see a picture of it. You can post a picture on my Bagoday Crochet Facebook page. If you want to make more curlicues, you can have them hang off however many you want. Yeah, but that's it. Check me out on Facebook, Instagram. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. And until next time, have a good day.